All right, guys, welcome to Beyond the Muscle. I'm really pleased to welcome our next guest today, Julian Cheung. Julian also is called Jack Chan over on Instagram, who you might know him as. And yeah, he made quite an impact last year. So he took first place in the 2024 MBW Classic at his very first attempt. Then he won the PCA Naturals in the junior class as well. He then went on to win his pro card at the WNBF Macau, taking first place in the juniors and winning the overall as well. Quite a season. Yeah, welcome to the show, Julian. How would you summarize your 2024?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for having me. It's my absolute pleasure being on the podcast. 2024 was life-changing. Yeah, it was a crazy, it was the biggest year of my life without a doubt. Um, life-changing things like my online coaching thing, uh, you know, life-changing going pro, life-changing just winning so many shows and blowing up on Instagram and connecting with people like yourself and connecting with people that I met throughout my journey and of course connecting with AJ as well. Uh, Obviously I met him in real life and then became, we're like good friends now,
Mm.
although he's my coach as well. So yeah, it's been a hell of a year. So hopefully this year, I'm sure this year will be another crazy year as well.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. So yeah, you've been coached by AJ for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, 93 weeks tomorrow, 94 weeks tomorrow. Yeah, so
Wow.
um, not that long. So we did literally a year. The day I met him in real life was the 52nd week of working together. So literally 1 year of working together.
Yeah.
Um, and then we went on to do my show 4 weeks after that.
hmm Yeah, cool. Yeah, AJ is yeah, he's great to see how far he's come because I've known AJ
Yeah.
since he was a teen. We were
Yeah.
we were friends back in the day, and yeah, I just kind of stepped away from bodybuilding, but yeah, to see how much he's blown up and what he's done for the sport,
Hmm.
it's amazing. Yeah, and yeah, you're
Yeah.
definitely in good hands there, so that's good.
Yeah, like the impact he's made on natural bodybuilding itself is crazy, and that's like my plan as well in the future is to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And he's obviously a person I look up to quite a lot. So I'll follow his steps and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, yeah, no, I hope that goes well for you. I'll be wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
So yeah, something I want to touch on, Julian. So obviously you've gained quite a sizable presence online, quite rapidly, and with a big enough following, inevitably some less than desirable comments are going to come your way. I remember when I first competed, I had my fair share of like fake natty accusations, and I think it was like early 2016. Louis Marco
Yeah.
did a post about me on his Instagram about like
Hmm.
what can be achieved naturally, and I got so much hate on it. It was basically a mixture of
Yeah.
people saying, "Oh, he's not natural. He's taking this, and this, like taking like substances I've never even heard of in a lot of cases." Or he just looks like shit, basically. People just, and
Yeah.
there are some positive comments too mixed in. I can see you also seem to be getting the fake natty accusations now.
Yeah.
How do you take it? Does it piss you off, or do you take it as a
No, I
compliment?
love it. I
You do,
love it.
yeah.
So I've said this in different podcasts as well, and I absolutely love it. But the thing is that you're either like too skinny or you're either on something. Like there's nothing, there's no in between. Obviously, there's hundreds and thousands of messages that I get, still to this day saying, like you're an inspiration, like you're doing quite a lot for natural bodybuilding already. But yeah, you do get some hateful people in this world who you don't even know in real life, and they just go out the way to comment, things like, "Oh, you're a fake natty." But the way I see it is, it's a compliment. I'm obviously not, I know myself that I'm not on anything. The people around me know I'm not on anything. And, when someone says you're a fake guy, it's simply just a compliment. If anything, like it fuels me more than it does for anything else.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think that's a good mentality to have.
Yeah.
I was kind of the same, to be fair. I was kind of shocked at first because I was like, there are naturals that are much bigger than me. Why why are you aiming it at me? I was a bit surprised, but yeah, you're 100% right. You've got to see it as a compliment.
Yeah.
But there's also, I think, there's such a misconception about what can be achieved naturally as well. That's the thing, and I think most
Yeah.
people just don't. They're not aware of it. They're not aware
Mm.
of how jacked guys can get and how genetically gifted people can be.
Yeah, that's the thing. So on my story the other day, I literally spoke about this. I don't blame the people who call me, a fake natty because they don't obviously have any, experience or any knowledge of natural bodybuilding itself. I mean, before I got into natural bodybuilding, I thought people who were natural were also on stuff. So I completely understand, but I would never go out my way to comment hate, obviously. So I don't, you can't blame them because they don't understand what you can achieve naturally. And I guess they never will because they're just never going to be into natural bodybuilding. Like you look on their profiles and they don't even go to the gym. They're just
Mm,
people who don't know anything about bodybuilding itself in any ways. So yeah, in a way you can't blame them and you just take it as a compliment.
yeah, yeah, no, that's true, and I do kind of get it. Like if you show me a picture of like Oscar Moscat, the guy that finished second at WNBF
Yeah,
Worlds, or
yeah,
like
yeah.
Daniel Kubik, or some of these mass monsters, before I got into
Crazy.
bodybuilding, I would have been like, yeah, I'd have my doubts as well.
Yeah.
So I kind
It's
of,
insane. Like the standard at Worlds last year was crazy.
mm,
And I'm definitely going to be doing Worlds in my next my pro debut as well
yeah,
during that season. So go into that lineup because they're Oscar Mosca is in the same class as me as well.
right,
We'll be in the exact same class. So is Dirk as well.
yeah,
Um and Zeben, the Chinese guy who won the lightweight class,
yeah, he
he's going to
beat
be in
that.
the same class.
Mm,
So those are the people that I'm going to be up against in a couple of years' time. So right now, my goal is nail the off season as hard as I can, as much as I can, because
mm,
you have bodybuilders who, and I don't blame them, but you have bodybuilders who kind of take the foot off the gas right after their shows. But the way I see it is I really, really, really want to be competitive and, at least, win. I always want to win, but be competitive on the pro stage, my pro debut. So, it's always just foot on the pedal, just 100% nailing it.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a
Yeah,
great mentality to have. Yeah,
yeah,
you can't let if anything, yeah, like the off season is more important, right? Isn't it for the
yeah.
look on
Because that's
stage?
the only phase that you're going to be growing muscle, and
Mm,
that's the phase where you're going to be making improvements for the stage.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, dieting is dieting. The fat comes off and it comes
yeah,
off. But yeah, the
yeah,
off season where it's at. Yeah, I heard on a podcast maybe last year. I think it was. It might have been like Brian DaCosta, and I think it was him. I'm not 100%. I think he said that everyone who's competed natural has considered kind of going down the dark side. Now, I would disagree
yeah.
with that personally. I've honestly never considered it. Even when I first got into bodybuilding, I was like 17, and yeah,
Mhm,
obsessed with the gym and lifting, getting jacked was always my goal. But I never wanted to do it down
mhm,
assisted. The kind of risk to reward seemed way off from my perspective. Is it something you've
mhm.
ever considered or not?
I have considered it, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think with social media, you have, these days it'll kind of make people consider it more
Yeah.
than, before social media was a thing. Um, but yeah, I obviously have considered it, but now I'm pretty set on not taking anything for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Again, like I want to leave an impact on natural bodybuilding, like AJ's doing. So I'm gonna go down that route and hopefully continue to inspire people who are younger and want to compete naturally as well because I want to show them again. I want to show them what can be achieved without the use of gear, just completely natural. So yeah, that's my goal at the end of the day is to inspire people to. I have nothing against people taking anything,
Mm.
nothing at all. But my goal isn't the Olympia stage right now. My goal is to win a WMBF Worlds, win a pro show, and that's my goal right now. So I'm focused on that. So with considering taking stuff I have done before, um, especially before I had a following, but now that people look up to me as an actual bodybuilder, uh, 99% no.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah,
No, I love that.
yeah,
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. On one hand, my thoughts are kind of the same, like each to their own.
yeah,
And the physiques are obviously undeniably impressive, the enhanced
yeah.
guys. And I think, yeah, without that, natural bodybuilding wouldn't be a thing because that's where it all started. But then you see the trickle down effect, I think, of like really young kids who have barely started lifting, taking steroids online. I think that's where,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, that's where it's sad to see, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's people who are very irresponsible with it. I guess there's no safe way of taking gear, I don't think, but it's people who don't take precautions like, doing their bloods,
Mm.
um, and stuff like that. It's just like very, very irresponsible and they don't know what they're putting in their body. Like they've not got a coach, they're not testing their bloods. And I think that's just, you're just gonna die at an early age if you do that.
Yeah, no, it's sad to see. No, it is. I
Yeah.
agree. Going back to your physique, you've obviously got a huge amount of potential. You're still young. How young are you, Julian?
24 this year, so I'm 23 right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, wow,
So I
yeah,
was I was a junior, so 22 when I was competing.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got amazing lines, great symmetry, like a really nice flow. That's your physique.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
curious, when did you discover you had that kind of look? Because in the off season, it's kind of hard to tell, isn't it? Because yeah, we're a bit soft, we're fluffy, and yeah, when did you know that okay, I might have something special here?
Yeah, so I've always had, I think it's my delts and my legs that really um gave it away, I guess. Uh, I was in a gym for a few bodybuilders, and I'll mention Brian Lung, who is also a lightweight as well. He's from Hong Kong, so he was in my gym, and he's actually one of the first people who got me into bo natural bodybuilding. And I guess like the people around me are saying, "Oh, you've got potential to compete and win and get your pro card and do really, really well in the future." Uh, so I guess when I was like, I was like peak off season kinda. It was before I started with AJ, and my shape was just good, my symmetry was good, my legs was good, uh, my muscle was just I had pretty good, decent muscle for training for maybe 3 years only, and then everyone around me was like, "Oh, you should go compete one day and just see how it goes." And then I just fell in love with the off season itself. So I think that's important as well. If you want to compete, you need to fall in love with the process.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to fall in love with it first before jumping straight into a show. Like I've got clients who come to me and say, "Oh, I want to compete in 3 months," and I'm just like, "How do I know you can even stick to a diet? How do I know you can get your cardio? How do I know you can get your steps? How do I even know you can get your check-in in on time?" And they've not even fallen in love with the process yet to then go and compete. So I think that's like a pretty big thing. And then so yeah, I did like my first off season with AJ, which is like a 20 something week gaining phase. And then that's when I was like, yeah, like this is my thing. Like I found what I'm meant to do in life, and it's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And then we did like a wee diet after that, a pre-prep diet, and that was easy as well. And then prep itself was just, yeah, it was obviously there was tough times, but I
Mm.
really enjoyed the process. As much suffering as there is, uh, it's such a fun process. And at the end of the day, it's your choice to go through a prep, so you don't complain about anything. But yeah, the when I realized I had potential, the reason why I realized I had potential is because the people around me told me. So I just went and done it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, delts
Yeah,
and legs, two quite important body parts to have
yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah,
genetically gifted into. That
yeah,
works.
yeah.
How long have you been training for, Julian?
So I think it's my fifth year now. Yeah. So I played rugby for a team called Helensburgh. Well, I also played down south. So I moved down south when I was 10, from Hong Kong. And then I played rugby for 6, 7 years, and then I moved to Scotland for 2 years, played rugby there. And then I got injured, ended up doing rehab in the gym, and I just fell in love with lifting weights.
Yeah, yeah,
So properly training, I guess, 5 years in total training.
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So you've had yeah, despite your 23, 24, you've still had a good
Mhm.
amount of time training.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, but you see the teens now, they just start training at like 12, 13 years old, and they're
Yeah,
crazy. Just conditioning is on point as well. Muscle mass is on point. I think the standard for natural bodybuilding is just getting better and better every single year. Like without a doubt. Like it's simple to see.
mm,
Um, every single year there's always that one teen who just comes out of nowhere, and it's just, yeah, it's crazy,
yeah.
honestly.
It is. Yeah, there's a guy Will. Is it Will Power? I don't know
Yeah,
if that's him.
willpower.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was at a
yeah,
few of my
yeah, yeah.
shows this year. And yeah, I remember he came in a little bit soft at the BMBF Southern. I think he
Yeah.
finished second, but he qualified.
Mhm.
And then after that, he just
Yeah.
won everything and
They
so
just won
much
everything.
size. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Josh as well, Josh Campbell, like just
Mm,
conditioning, insane for well, he's 19 now, but 18 when he was competing, and it's just crazy how much muscle and how de like the guy's so dense from the posterior as well.
yeah,
Um, and he nails every single thing as well. Well, it's so annoying because he gets sick quite a lot, so he can't.
right.
There's nothing he can control about that. But yeah, he started when he was really, really young as well, which is one thing I wish I did. Start at a younger age. Um, and but yeah, we're here now, so and
Yeah, yeah.
enjoying it.
No, that's it. Yeah, I do wonder actually because obviously there's like a bit of a thing that you hear, like an old wives' tale that if you start too young, you're going to stunt your growth, and that I do wonder if that's going to be. I think it's probably bullshit anyway, but I wonder if it's going
Hmm.
to be fully dispelled that myth soon, and people will
Hmm.
just start training at 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I started when I was 16, 17.
yeah.
But yeah, my son is 8. I'm going to try and get him into it fairly soon, I
Getting
think.
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing with. So I obviously live in Hong Kong and in the UK as well.
yeah,
And in Hong Kong, like going to the gym isn't really a thing until you're older.
right.
So like the standard here isn't as high, do you know what I mean, with natural bodybuilding, and it's not really as big of a thing. But in the UK, you got everyone's got a gym membership, and then
Mm,
people just start so young, like just have access to weights.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's great. It's growing and it's
yeah,
really good to
it's good
see.
to see. Yeah, honestly, I
Yeah,
think it's good just to do some sort of activity, like even if it's not lifting weights, running or whatever it is your thing is, like some sort of sports. Like I think it's important to have some sort of um sport lifestyle in your life.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I really got into running a few years ago in
Mm.
the time in between when I was bodybuilding the first time and then now. Yeah, I'm definitely back into bodybuilding now. It's more
Yeah,
enjoyable
yeah,
for me.
yeah.
I'm not built to be a runner. Yeah, something I wanted to chat about, Julian. So I spoke to Steve Hall about this recently, and it's something I've chatted to with some other successful bodybuilders, and I've struggled with it at times. They have as well. I think self-doubt. So I'm curious to see if it's something that enters your mind at all. Obviously, you're genetically very suited to bodybuilding, and I've seen your training. You definitely put the work in as well. But have you had any self-doubt when it comes to your abilities in bodybuilding?
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah.
think the biggest part was closer towards my shows.
Right.
Um, it was in a way there was a lot of pressure. I don't know if this is there was a lot of pressure from social media because obviously I was blowing up, and it got to the point where it was kind of getting to me because I was like, oh, like I've got people who are expecting me to win because obviously I get hundreds of comments every single day when I post a check-in. They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna win, you're gonna win, you're gonna get the sword. And I guess that's self-doubt, isn't it?
Mm,
So yeah, that's like the only point where I'm like, oh, maybe what if I don't win? What if I don't do well? But that's really like the only point. Right now, I'm just focusing on winning because if you have doubt with anything, in my opinion, or with any competition, if you have doubt, then you're not gonna win, in my opinion. Like I was going into the shows with the mentality of I'm gonna win the shows,
mm,
like 100%. So maybe I don't have it as much as other people do, but yeah, at points in in my prep, I was like, yeah, like what if this,
right.
what if that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a cool. Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
cool message. Did you get nervous at all, being that this was your first season? What were the nerves like?
The only nervous part was before stepping on stage. So see when you're backstage, ready to go out. Because obviously my first show, I think I was first one out or second one out the entire show because I was obviously the UKDFBA first timers that I done. So
Yeah,
I was the first timers category. I wasn't even the juniors category yet. So first timers category. I think I came out like as the first person or the second person
right.
in the entire list. So before when you're behind the curtains, then yeah,
Mhm.
that's I was very, very nervous. But as soon as you like just step through and all the lights are there and the people are there and it's like a crazy atmosphere,
Mm.
it all goes away. You're having fun. You're having fun. Just not it's not nervousness.
Yeah, I love that. I
Um
completely agree. Yeah, the nerves kind of
yeah,
just melt
yeah,
away as soon as you get on stage. It's
yeah,
weird, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, and I think yeah, it helps maybe to go at first. I was trying to James on my last podcast, and for me, it's the wait into your individual routine. That's when I get the most
yeah,
nervous. And if you're right
yeah,
at the back and
yeah,
you've got like 10 people in front, I'm like, "Ah,
yeah.
that's you just itching to get out there. But
Yeah,
being
I
first
was
on,
first person to do the individual routine.
yeah, then
Yeah,
maybe
that
that helps.
was yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, that's really cool. What do you think are some of the biggest mistakes newcomers make, Julian?
As in on the show day
Yeah,
or
just in terms of
in
bodybuilding in
general.
general. Yeah, yeah.
Not coming in, not starting their prep lean enough. They start their prep very, very heavy at a very heavy weight. Some people start their prep, peak gaining phase, and that just makes you have to do a lot more cardio, a lot more steps, a lot more expenditure. And if you have a lot more expenditure, you're gonna be more tired at the end of prep, and it's gonna prep put you through hell during prep. And I think that's the thing that makes people not enjoy prep. Because for me, I dieted down from 80 kilos to 70, and then we like maintained at 73 kilos for a couple months.
Yeah.
And then from 73, I went down to 64 my first show, 62 my last show.
Mhm.
So not a lot, like obviously a decent amount of weight, but you get people who have to diet down 20, 25 kilos
Yeah.
from, peak gaining phase to the end of prep. And by the end of the prep, they're just like, yeah, I don't want to do that again because I'm just so dead. So I think that's the one of the biggest things is not starting prep at like a lean enough body composition
Yeah.
where they just make it so hard for themselves. Yeah.
No, that's true. I definitely agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
you see
because
it a lot as well.
the only cardio expenditure I had to do was an hour of the stationary bike per week, and
Oh,
then just
nice.
10,000 to 12,500 steps on a
Yeah.
training day and a non-training day, and that was it for throughout. Not even the entire prep. Like cardio only got put in like a couple weeks into prep.
Yeah.
So I think that set me up for to play around with peaks as well for AJ to play around with peaks, and set me up to just be dry and lean and peeled on stage. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think, yeah, obviously with less cardio, less fatigue generally is always a
Yeah.
good thing as well.
Yeah, like my training performance was high throughout the entire prep. Obviously, I was feeling crap,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but that's the enjoy that's the fun part of it. When you're feeling crap, like that's when you know you're losing fat
Mm.
and you're losing weight. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah. No, that's true. How was hunger during prep for you?
Nothing. The only
Really?
hunger I had was one day, the night before the UK FBA show, because
Right.
I went into bed. I had my meals earlier than I usually did, so I could go to bed early, but then I couldn't get to bed because I was so nervous.
Yeah.
So I was rolling around bed for a couple hours, and then it got to the point where, because I was awake, I was like, oh, I'm hungry. So I
Right.
just couldn't sleep. So I only got a few hours sleep for the UKD FBA show. No, no one, AJ doesn't even know that actually.
Right.
So that was the only time there was hunger.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of prep post show. Yeah, we can talk about that later if you want.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, that
don't
was
worry,
that was
that's on my
another thing
list.
as well. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it was a bad one, but
Yeah.
it's things like these that I've gone through so that I can show people and tell people
Mhm.
what to expect so that they can learn from my mistakes, which is why I love the fact that I have a following as well.
Yeah.
Like people can learn from my mistakes as and not do it during their own prep.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
just take these things that go wrong as learning experiences and then
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, that's such an important thing to take
Mm.
home there. Onto your training, Julian. So I've seen your training and a lot of the top guys, their training generally. And one, I suppose maybe two things they have in common is the intent and like intensity as well. They
Mm.
definitely bring them both. And despite the control that these top guys have, they're still bringing things like really close to failure or beyond, like in some cases. Do you feel there are a lot of bodybuilders who just aren't training hard enough, in your opinion?
Uh, Everyone's got their own ways of training. For me, I personally find the most enjoyment out of training to failure. Train to failure, train with heavy weight, continuing to progressive overload every single session. And as long as you can recover from it, I think it's fine. Because in my opinion, if I train to one or two RIR, it's just not as fun. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you do one that second last rep and then you're just done. But
Mm,
the way I train is failure, and then sometimes I'll even have one or two force reps if there's a spotter, or I'll add some partials in as well. So I guess each to their own, but as long as you can recover from your
mm.
session, then that's completely fine.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. How is like recovery and like sleep for you generally? Do you sleep well generally?
Oh, I don't. I'm a late sleeper. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. I am a very late sleeper. But during prep, it was spot on. I was in
Right.
bed by 10, asleep by 10:30.
Yeah.
Obviously, sleep got worse and worse and worse as you get leaner.
Yeah.
Um, so just yeah, just doing little things like not turn on the light. Drinking away from bedtime, like that
Mm.
helped. But I recover from all my sessions really, really well.
How much
Yeah.
sleep were you getting a night in the off season out of
Oh,
interest?
I get a solid 8 to 9 hours.
Oh,
It's just a matter of getting to bed late. Like I sleep late. I think Hong Kong lifestyle as well. Because right now, I live with people as well. We tend to sleep very, very late, and
Right.
it's just a thing. Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Um, but I do want to promote that like sleep is so important.
Mm.
Um, recovery is just as important as you eating clean and training as hard as you can.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's very true, really.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, as long as you're getting the sleep in,
Yeah.
then that's the main thing. So
Hmm.
yeah, I want to chat about your post-show experiences this season, Julian. So
Yeah.
I remember after my first season, way back in 2015, I gained 3 kilos in one day, which obviously seems like a lot. I was prepping clients then the following year, had quite a few bodybuilding clients. I had one client who gained 7 kilos in one night from show days to the day after, which is yeah, just wild.
Mm.
I know it's a struggle post show, and I've definitely been there. Obviously, the lack of clear goal combined with like ravenous hunger is a
Yeah.
dangerous mix. Now you've been
Yeah.
quite open about your post show struggles. How was that post show experience for you? And yeah, what have you learned from it, Julian?
Yeah. So I gained around 15 kilos within a week. Like, it was very, yeah, it was like 9 kilos in 3 days. I'm pretty sure it was. Um, yeah, it wasn't good because it's not something that I expected. Like, you know, I knew post show was hard, but I didn't think it was harder than prep.
Yeah,
Um, so it's an experience because what I wouldn't say it's a good experience because if you gain so much weight, you feel you can't look at yourself in the mirror. You don't feel great. But now that I've experienced it, I can again show people that this is a thing, that the post show phase is a thing, and I can learn from my mistakes. Like next time, it won't happen again. So yeah, like obviously post show will never be easy, but I think it's with anything. Like, if you have the more experience you have, the easier it gets, doesn't it? And
yeah,
the
yeah.
better you get at it. I think what made it really, really hard, I made it really hard for myself. I was, for m months, I was eating my meals, every single meal. So 5 meals a day. And every single meal, I would be on Instagram Reels, just scrolling through food
Yeah,
reels, literally all that. There was literally, there wasn't even gym reels at that point. It was just
it's
food
food.
after food reels, watching YouTube videos of just people eating food. Um, and yeah, that this didn't help. I made like a list of foods and I had like 50, 60 different things on that list that I was gonna eat after my shows. So
Mm.
if you make the more food focused you make yourself, the worse post show is for you. So my suggestion for that is, which I'm gonna do next time, is I think on Instagram you can filter out keywords.
Ah,
So you can
okay.
like filter out like hashtags.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna filter out, food videos because I don't want to go through a post show like a bad post show phase ever again. You mentally just feel so lost. Obviously, there's not a goal after after your last show. But it's crazy how the mind works because the lowest calories I was on was 1,300 calories
wow.
pu- uh during prep,
Yeah,
and AJ bumped up my calories to 3,000 uh like the next day. But the same day after my last show. And you just feel so hungry. It's crazy. It's more than double
yeah,
my lowest calories. And I felt no hunger during that 1,300 calories. But yeah, like your hormones all over the place, you just have no goal. And I think I think the fact one other thing that made it worse was winning. Like
right.
I was pretty much rewarding myself
Yeah,
with all this crap food. I was eating food that I wouldn't even eat in the off season, that I don't even look at. Like
right.
that's how bad it was. Like you get to the point where you're eating and you feel stuffed, but you're
Mm.
not you're not full. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not great.
so true. Yeah,
Um,
brilliant. No, I love that message. Yeah,
yeah.
and that's really interesting. I never knew that about the filtering words, so I'm going to have to try that next time.
I've learned that off of quite a few different people, so you can
Yeah,
literally filter out the words, which is something I'm gonna do, 100%.
yeah. It's you get drawn to food when you're that lean, and
Yeah,
it's hard because
yeah,
it is a balancing act. Because after you finish, I think there people do make the mistake, and I've done it in the past of trying to stay too lean post show, and there's no point doing that. Like a
yeah,
sizable bump up in calories is definitely needed.
yeah,
But then you're
yeah,
right, that comes with extra hunger and extra freedom means, yeah, oh, I can have just a few more of those. I won't track
yeah,
today. And then things can
yeah,
spiral out of control. So yeah, what advice would you give to like newcomers trying to navigate that post-show phase?
Stay distracted. The thing about me was I was when I came back for my last show, I was always at home, so I wasn't actually like I wasn't doing my steps. Stick to a routine. Still, continue to have a routine and
Mm,
continue to have a goal. Sorry, that's the advice I give.
yeah,
Have your routine. Continue with the exact same routine, like whatever it is, your training, your nutrition, your posing, every single thing. Continue with that routine that you had in prep into the post show phase. Communication with your coach, 100%. I wasn't communicating with AJ, not my fault. Um, and also like just keeping occupied because when you're not occupied at home and you're just there's food all over the place, you're gonna think about food, and that's the only
mm,
thing you're gonna think about, and then you're gonna go and find lots of food. Because obviously when I came home, I was staying with my family, so they've got food in the kitchen, and then you're literally just going through everything. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's my advice is to stick to a routine, communicate with your coach.
Love it. Yeah, no, that's great
Yeah.
advice. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really, really important that.
hmm
Obviously you're doing a mini, is it a mini cut or is it more an extensive dieting phase now?
Yeah. Well, I would, it's like a 10 to 12 week cut. So I wouldn't even call it a mini cut. It's going really well. Like
Yeah,
dieting is, in my opinion, very, very easy.
right.
I'm literally on 2,300 calories. For the last 2 weeks, and there's just not a single bit of hunger right now. And I'm just,
Mm,
this has been the happiest I've been in a while because I can actually look at myself in the mirror
mm,
and be like, oh, like I'm getting leaner. And also, I didn't update my physique at all post show.
yeah,
So I literally done an update last week, and it's just nice to. I literally said this in my story, but it's like a complete weight off my shoulders,
right.
updating everyone. Because obviously not everyone's thinking about it, but no one's seen my physique in a long, long time.
Mm,
So to finally be able to be comfortable with myself, with posting my physique online on my Instagram, yeah, that was a huge pressure off my shoulders.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
good to hear. Yeah, and I'm glad
mhm,
that's going well for you. Does it
yeah,
come with that added pressure, having quite a large following, would you say?
yeah, 100%.
Mm,
You have the pressure of po trying to post every single day. You have the pressure of making content.
mm,
Um, yeah, like little things like that. But it's not something that you should be letting that get to your head. Do you know what I mean? Like,
mm,
but at the end of the day as well, like my Instagram's also my business page,
yeah,
so I'm trying to grow it as much as I can. Um, but yeah, it's not, social media isn't something that should be getting you, upset and
yeah,
putting pressure on yourself. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's one
yeah.
thing. Like I'm grateful for my following. I'm really really grateful. Like the messages that I get, and even like the things that people say to me in real life when they meet me is honestly so nice, and I'll never get used to that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, there is pressure with posting and stuff, and whatever you have to be very careful with what you post online as well.
Mm, yeah, no,
Yeah.
true, very true. Yeah, so your like your bodybuilding journey, in many ways, it's not been a typical one. Obviously, a lot of success in your first season, turning
Yeah.
pro at was it your third show, wasn't it?
Yeah, my third show.
Um,
Yeah, so I was actually meant to do another show after that, but because I
right, I'll
turned
see.
pro, I
Got
couldn't
it.
do that. Yeah, yeah,
Um, yes, I've been away from this game for a while. So I competed just in 2015, and
yeah.
this year I finished second at the British finals, and I lost out to a guy who then went on to get his DFAC pro card, his Masters pro card. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I got that pro card, would it have affected my hunger
Mhm.
and motivation? Like, I don't think it would,
Yeah.
but it was still in my mind. I think I'd just be very even more pumped in a way to kind of rise up the pro ranks. How do you feel that early success that you've had has affected your motivation? You still seem to have that hunger,
Oh, it's motivated me even more now
right?
because obviously the standards have leveled up another level, so I'm even hungrier to go and win. Um, just trying to nail every single thing I can every single day, just doing the little bits like every bodybuilder does. Um, and yeah, like I'm not gonna slack in the next 2, 3 years, however long I'm off stage for, because I really, really, really want to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that you miss. Like winning on stage is the best feeling in the world. Like, it's
Mm,
it's crazy. Like you hear about the next day after the show, where you kind of feel a bit down.
right.
Yeah, because you're just at such a high
Yeah.
on show day from winning. And then the next day you feel I miss that. I miss winning and I miss being on stage itself. Like even if, it's not just winning, it's like being on stage. Like that
Mm.
was such a fun part. And to to work so hard for so many weeks because bodybuilding, like stepping on bodybuilding stage isn't just about the prep. It's about the off season and grinding from day one of joining AJ 92, 90, 93 weeks ago to winning your first, couple shows. That was the best part. Like the grind itself.
Mm.
Uh, hard work really does pay off. Um,
Yeah.
and that was yeah, that's the part I miss the most.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the second phase this time is keep grinding now and then 2, 3 years time we step on the pro stage and compete again.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how that goes for you. And yeah,
Thank you.
you're still young. So
Yeah.
much more growing to do, and so much
Yeah.
potential. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be good for sure. Yeah, it's weird. Going back to Mike's, I won my first show. I won the overall, my first attempt, and it was like it's a bizarre feeling. It's indescribable, really. And yeah, I don't remember feeling down the next day. I don't. I think I was just kind of still trying to process it all, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. It's a feeling. It's such an amazing
Yeah.
feeling winning a show.
Yeah, it's the best feeling ever. And
Mm,
obviously after my first and second show there was like some issues. So my first show I got ill a couple of days out. So then to win, you know, the first timers category, that was huge for me as well.
yeah.
Because actually a couple like literally a day out of the UKDFBA first timers show, I wasn't gonna do the show.
Right.
Um although you don't know this because but basically I got food poisoning
Oh no.
literally 4 days out, and I went from being peeled, and then the next day I was like bloated, like just
Right. Yeah.
water everywhere, and I had to go to hospital. But yeah, so that paid off, and then the second show, my grandma passed away the day before the show, so
Right.
then I was like, right, like I need to win this first. So I literally told my brother I was gonna, and my mom, that I was gonna win my category, win gold for her, and I did, and then that was the best part of the prep as well, just um the second show as well is winning for my grandma for that show, and that win was for her. Yeah,
Yeah. That's an amazing story. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I never knew that. Well, yeah, you faced some challenges during that prep. Then it wasn't
yeah,
by any means smooth
yeah,
sailing. Well,
yeah.
um,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like when you go through your first prep, you learn so much about prep itself, but you also learn so much about yourself mentally. Like you realize how disciplined you are, because you don't realize it. Like I don't realize it even now, until people actually tell you, like wow, you're actually so disciplined. Like even in the off season, you're still eating the same 5 meals a day every single day. So yeah, you learn a lot about yourself, and you grow as a person through prep.
yeah, 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 it's
Yeah,
so true. It's really
hmm
it's great at teaching you lessons, isn't it? That can
yeah,
then be
yeah,
transferred to life.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, back onto so you're going to be probably stepping on stage in 2 to 3 years. What are you looking to improve for next time, Julia? Next time you're on stage?
Definitely my chest, which has improved. So my chest was, if you look at my sh photos, my chest was a weaker point, because my delts and arms are a very, very, very strong point. I would say my delts, my arms, and my legs are my strongest points.
Yeah.
Um, During my first off season with AJ, the goal was to improve my posterior, and we have done that. Like we've really done that. I was literally looking back at the shots that I took last week because I hadn't taken any sort of shots post workout
Yeah.
for like a while, and then to look back on the first ever set of shots, my posterior has improved a lot.
Mhm.
So that's not really the main issue. The main thing I want to improve on is my chest 100%. So um, we really prioritize that this off season.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'll bring a nice flow to the physique
Yeah,
even more. Yeah, you do. There's a lot of balance there still though. Yeah, like hamstrings, quads.
yeah.
Were those body parts that when you first started training them, they just blew up really quickly, like your quads and your
So
delts?
no, like my hamstring, my back, my entire back was a weak point. It was so weak. So I find this with a lot of Asian bodybuilders as well, is that our posterior chains are just so poorly. Like they're just not great. They're just not developed. We're not
Right.
dense enough. We're not wide enough. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a genetic thing.
Mm,
So yeah, my first off season with AJ, like my first gaining phase with AJ was that was our focus,
yeah,
posterior chain. And we made really solid improvements during that gaining phase, which led on to prep,
yeah.
led on to my stage look being pretty good. So yeah, that's another thing with jumping into a prep is have a coach. I reckon in my opinion, 6 to 12 months before you even think about stepping on, before you even step on stage, because they also need to see what improvements you need to make if
Mm,
you're ready and competitive enough for the stage. And that is exactly what AJ and I have done.
yeah, no, very, very good
Yeah,
message. That, yeah, and so
yeah.
true. Your physique, it's quite like a classic look. Is that something you'd consider doing a classic physique, or do you prefer sticking to open?
I love open bodybuilding. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know what it is. I think it's the conditioning for me.
Mhm.
Uh, and I just yeah, I think the open bodybuilding is what I'd stick to. I know WNBF now has a classic physique category. So maybe I can look into doing that, but right now just bodybuilding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, that's fair enough. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Going back to your training, Joe, I never asked what got you into bodybuilding in the first place.
Oh, this is a very tough question. So the
Right.
reason why I think I said this, but the reason why I started gymming was I used to be a rugby player, so I used to play rugby, and then got injured, and then just done rehab, and then I just fell in love with lifting weights, and then bodybuilding itself is surrounding myself with people who done it as well, and then when they say that I was gonna do well on it, I guess I just tried it out myself, and then I mean I started watching bodybuilding videos and like shows as well. So the first show I was meant to do this show called the Hong Kong Natural Bodybuilding Federation, it's HKNBF.
Right.
So I went to watch that show a year before I was meant to compete, just to like see how it is, and look at my competitors as well. And that's when I was like, yeah, this is for me. That like this is just something else. It's not niche anymore, but I guess if you compare it to football, it is niche,
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
niche sport. And I want to be good at it. Like I know that I can be good at it. Um, so yeah, I guess surrounding myself with people who are really, really good at bodybuilding kind of just got me into it.
yeah,
Yeah, and just enjoying really enjoying the training aspect, the dieting aspect, like eating every single thing, like measuring it out and eating
hmm
the same meals every single day. Like that aspect of it is what made me fall in love with it. It's like the routine of being a
yeah.
bodybuilder has really made me fall in love with it. Yeah,
Mm, yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah,
yeah,
routine. It's
yeah,
like I've been saying this to a few people. I think bodybuilding it definitely attracts a certain type of person. The person who loves
yeah,
structure, routine. Would you
yeah,
say that in other areas of your life you're also like that type A personality, really organized and loves
yeah,
things
yeah,
being a certain way?
yeah. It definitely affects, life itself as well. Like you've got something going on in life. Like you have to be doing something. For me, I have to be doing something every single day. Like I have a step goal. I go to the gym. There's just a routine to have. In my opinion, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a routine, like you're not gonna be a happy person. In my opinion. So what I found that's really helped is just sticking to a routine and making the changes that I need to make, making the improvements that I need to make for the pro stage.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
Um, your training itself, Julian. So how does that currently look at the moment?
So I do a 5 day split. I get this question quite a lot whenever
Yeah,
I do the Q&A thing
yeah,
on my story. So 5 day split, it's push, pull, legs, rest, and then push, pull. But the second pull day is hamstring focused as well.
yeah.
So we have some sort of hip hinge movement incorporated in there, and some hamstring curls as well. So yeah, that's literally it, and that's what it's
Cool.
always been throughout working together with AJ.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
training glutes specifically, or is that an area you just train in like a secondary manner, as in with
No,
other
it's like
people?
well, I do. I'm meant to be doing SLDLs, but I've got lower back injury, so I do RDLs now.
Yeah,
So RDLs and I do hamstring curls as well, but not specifically. I don't do hip thrusts, like
no.
to specifically target the glutes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I've just only
Yeah,
started doing those recently. I've neglected doing them
yeah,
for years and years. they give me a
yeah.
lot of lower back tightness, but I'm going to
Mhm.
experiment. I know Ben Lloyd is doing them as well. He's experimenting with doing
Yeah.
them.
And
Um,
his showing last year was crazy.
yeah.
Um, I would say he's one of the best bodybuilders in the UK right now.
Yeah.
Just crazy peeled, crazy conditioning, crazy muscle mass. And I know as well he didn't need to do that much cardio expenditure. Like it was
Mm.
less than me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
he's and
Because
his
he
calories get very high as well in the
yeah, because he's a personal trainer as well, so
yeah.
he was just always on his feet.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, his food was pretty high, I think.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
he's got such a dense physique and he's been training for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah, it's great to see how far he's come. Um, yeah, so you 5 days a week. Okay, cool. And how long does each session last typically? Like an hour and a half?
Quite long. So I only train legs lower once a week
Yep.
if you don't include uh back and like hamstrings on that day. But my leg days are 3 hours long.
Wow.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I love legs. I
Yeah.
love training legs. That's like my favorite body part to train because obviously legs are my strong point as well.
Mm,
And at the end of the leg day, I feel trashed, and I don't know
mm,
why, but I just love that feeling as well because I know I've worked hard. But usually around 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Legs is just a bit longer. I guess also because, but more exercises first of all, and like recovery time between sets is a wee bit longer as well.
yeah, yeah. That makes
Um,
sense.
yeah. So I mean, if it's one leg day per week, then I think it's completely fine.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're kind of
Yeah.
yeah, because I do it twice a week, but you're
Yeah.
essentially combining it into once. What do you dislike training the most?
Biceps. I
Oh wow,
hate
okay.
training my arms. I hate training biceps. I think it's the most I think it's the most boring thing and so repetitive.
Yeah,
That's literally the only thing I hate I don't hate training it, but if I were to pick an exercise that a muscle that I hated, no, not I hated, that I don't like doing the most, then
yeah.
it would be training my biceps, yeah.
Interesting, because you've got good arms.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I've got really good arms. That's the
Yeah,
thing. But I just hate training them. I don't know what it
yeah.
is. I just think it's just the same thing every single day.
I
But
get
with
that.
chest, you can do flies, you can do pressing, you can do loads of stuff with chest. But biceps just the same
I know.
movement.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different variations
Yeah,
now. You see a lot of people doing the length and partials with
yeah,
biceps,
yeah,
and
yeah. Yeah.
even people doing like completely lying down bicep curls to
Well, like
focus on the
that, like
stretch. Yeah, yeah, or
yeah,
in front. Yeah, it's like people. Yeah, but I think the basics just work really for biceps, don't they?
yeah. That's more RP stuff. So. Like in the gym, I'll
Yeah,
know who follows Micah's or tell
yeah,
when they're
yeah.
lying on the back extension, like
That's
doing
it.
that. But
I've
for me,
even
I just stick to the basics, I'll literally just stick to the basics, even if it's not the most optimal exercise. The most fun one, if you need to be enjoying your sessions in order to keep it sustainable with anything. So do the exercises that work for you, do the exercises that you enjoy the most is important.
Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. I think because
Yeah.
there are certain exercises that just for certain people just don't feel right. They just, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, you might get a little joint niggle. It might just not work
Mm.
for you, provide the right amount of stimulus. You're right. You got
Yeah.
to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that. You can see the people who are
Yeah.
following Dr. Mike on
Yeah.
in the gym.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously, no hate to them, but
No, yeah.
uh, I think UK bodybuilding is more just top set, back off set. Um,
Mm,
yeah, and it's something I try to promote here in Hong Kong as well. When I'm
right.
training with my mates here, uh, people don't really train to failure here as much. It's
Right.
always 4 sets of 12 to 15.
Mm,
So occasionally I'll be in the gym and with my friends I'll help spot them, say like one more, do another one, and just push them to failure and just make their training more enjoyable, and they love it as well.
yeah.
And you see, like they tell me like, oh, ever since training with you, like my training has I've really started enjoying my training, and I see a massive difference, which is why on my story you'll see sometimes that all the stories on my story are of me spotting people.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How interesting. You're trying to
Yeah,
introduce them to the UK way of
yeah.
bodybuilding, I guess.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
I think in my opinion, it's just the most fun. Like as long as you can recover from it, then it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, yeah, the idea of doing 4 sets of like a leg press, like you're going to be keeping
yeah,
stuff in the tank. You're not going to be
yeah,
hitting
yeah,
failure.
exactly. And some, especially like first time lifters, like not people who aren't experienced, um, they won't know what one or two RIR means,
No.
and they could potentially be leaving a lot of reps on the table.
Mm.
So why not just train to failure and make it more fun in the first place?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think
Yeah,
what people,
yeah,
certainly newcomers, think is 1 to 2 RAR is probably like 5 to 6 or more in
yeah,
cases.
exactly. Like you won't know with experience, and yeah, it's just better to nail the zero RIR in my
Yeah, yeah.
opinion. Yeah,
Failure is an easier metric to gauge, isn't it? When you fail,
yeah,
everyone knows what failure looks like,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, you seem like quite an introspective bodybuilder. You definitely like remind me of AJ in that you're like wise beyond your years, I would say. What advice would you give to a newcomer thinking of getting into bodybuilding?
Is to make sure that they're ready well, fall in love with the process first, fall in love with, the routine, the eating, the training, fall in love with all that. Um, and make sure, that life is for you. Because with bodybuilding, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. Like with prep itself, um, with the low energy as well, not I was at university at the time, so I was in my final year university. So obviously I've got a lot of mates at uni as well. But I wasn't cutting people off, but I warned everyone that I was going into a prep, that I was going to be focusing on these shows. I was going to be focusing on all this, so they expected it. So I guess communicate with people, but no, I wasn't in a relationship as well, so it's a lifestyle that you have to make a lot of sacrifices for. So I think, just expect that, um, and ask people who've done it. People
Mm.
can by all means message me. I love replying to everyone. Like, there's not a single message that I don't reply to. So, like, literally ask questions
Yeah.
with anyone who's experienced with bodybuilding, and learn to love and enjoy and fall in love with bodybuilding first before thinking about stepping on stage.
Yeah, great messages there. And I would agree. I
Yeah,
think, yeah, bodybuilding is like from my experience, it's a really friendly community. People will
yeah,
generally get back to you
yeah,
and respond. And I've helped people, and
yeah,
you have, and plenty of others
yeah,
have. So yeah, that's great advice. And obviously, yeah, fall in love with the process is key. It really
yeah,
is, 100%. Um, well, Julian, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed this. We've come to the end of
yeah. Thank you, mate.
our discussion. I wanted to do some quick fire questions, as I always do.
Yeah, sure.
What
Yeah.
is your favorite film?
Oh, the one that came on top of my head was Pulp Fiction. That's my first
Okay.
one. Um, I've also been watching the old Star Wars as well,
Oh, it
like
was in the
like
original
all the
trilogy.
Star Wars. Yeah, the original
Yeah, I
ones.
love those. Yeah, the best ones.
So I'm going through them as well.
What's your favorite
Yeah.
of those so far?
Oh, I think I've only watched three, so I don't know. But
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I think I've watched them in the wrong order. I think you meant to watch the the later ones first. I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, it
That's what
goes
I've
like
been told.
the prequel ones
Yeah,
first, 1, 2, 3, then
yeah,
the originals 4, 5, 6, and then
yeah, yeah,
the less good ones
yeah.
after.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
Pulp Fiction is my favorite film by far.
that's a great. I haven't seen that in years, but it is a classic
Yeah,
Tarantino
yeah,
film.
it's a classic. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good.
they've got it in the cinemas here again, so
Oh
I can
wow,
watch
cool.
it again.
Yeah, come out
Yeah,
in 1994. That film. That is. I
yeah,
was.
an old film.
Yeah, that is old.
hmm
What's your favorite dieting food, Julian?
Dieting food. 85% dark chocolate.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
all the so before you followed me, I was making this whey paste thing
I
with protein,
I
and
did
then
see
I
some of
posted
them.
it. I kept posting my story, and there was hundreds. I mean, like hundreds of people tagging me
Yeah.
in their stories, and like just for me to repost. And then yeah, that's also one dieting food that really helped as well. Was the whey paste. But right now it's 85% dark chocolate. I love it. I'm having so much dark chocolate right now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've actually
Okay.
got some here as well.
Right. Nice. You mix
After this
it with
podcast.
anything? Do you just have it on its
No, I
own?
just
Or?
eat it. I just eat it like after a meal. Like, I'll have mince and rice, and I'll have 20 grams of dark chocolate, or have 100 grams of cream of rice,
Yeah.
20 grams of dark chocolate. Yeah, I don't know
Nice.
what it is right now. Right now, it's dark chocolate. Yeah,
Yeah. No, interesting answer. I
yeah,
haven't had that one before, but I do
yeah,
like dark chocolate as well.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good shot. What's your you obviously indulge with a bit of off-season foods post-show. What's your favorite off-season food currently?
Oh, this is so. Favorite off-season food is definitely sushi.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
sushi. Because in Hong Kong it's quite cheap. It's not like in the UK it's very, very expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, here it's really, really cheap. After my show, I went to Japan and I had 36 plates of sushi, and it
Right,
was all
right.
you can. It was pretty much, and that was £40. Which is it would be extortionate in the UK.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the plates had like four pieces of sushi as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's why I got so unfit after my post show as well. Like it just ate and ate and ate. So, but sushi is definitely my favorite off-season food.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
answer. I do love sushi. Yeah, I bet
yeah.
your weigh-in was a bit higher the next day after 40 plates.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't great because obviously it was just a week of being in Japan,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks after my show. So that's also
Mm-hmm.
one thing to be careful of is booking holidays after your show
Hmm.
because you kind of want to stay on plan, but you just do want to stay on plan as much as you can after your show. So booking a holiday might not be too ideal.
Yeah, I did the same thing back in 2015.
Mm.
Me and my wife went to Prague, and
Yeah.
I ate so much food. I got like a proper edema in my ankles to the point where I could barely
Really?
walk. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we were
your
considering
ankles just
calling
get
an
so.
ambulance. It was that bad.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, she had to literally carry me back to the hotel because I put my finger in my lower leg and it would just leave a
Yeah.
massive. They were puffy as hell. My lower like
What
calf
did you
muscles.
eat?
It was Prague and the food there is quite salty. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
It
it's
was a lot
salty,
of
isn't it?
meat and a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
just general food, but I depleted
Yeah.
myself so much that I was so like
Yeah.
salt sensitive that
Yeah.
it caused me
The amount
massive
of
swelling.
sodium you consume when you're going out for food is
Mm.
insane.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
because bodybuilders typically have a quite low sodium diet. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's something to be aware of. Like I
Yeah.
think for a newcomer is just to be aware of
Mm.
that edema and
Yeah.
that water retention.
Hmm.
What are your hobbies outside of bodybuilding, Julian?
Hobbies outside bodybuilding right now is I really love going for walks. I would say
Mm.
that's isn't bodybuilding. Like I walk my dog
No.
quite a lot. I love going on hikes. Um, I'm quite like I just like going outside, going to the beach, going bowling, yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Just little simple stuff is what I love to do. Yeah,
Yeah. Cool,
and
cool.
just spending time with family, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
No, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Um, yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on, Julian. I really
yeah,
appreciate you coming on to chat with me.
yeah. Thank you very much for
Um,
having me.
no, you're welcome. And yeah, all the best for your future showing. I'll be keeping an eye on
Yeah.
that. And thanks for watching and tuning in, guys. And we'll see you next time.